Hiya, today I'm illustrating the kick and snare that I have made. It's the first part of the sound design for making the drum and bass tracks that I'm making. Obviously you can use sample kicks, and I may use some sample kicks in the tunes. However, like understanding how they're made and making them is a valuable process, something that once you've learned to do means you can create your own samples and have your own sort of sound, and obviously developing that is how a lot of these producers set themselves apart from other people. So here we have two snares and a couple of kicks, and I've basically made those by isolating separate layers from other kick sounds by filtering and EQ and what have you, and then combining them back together. I've also taken several sounds from like a drum pack that was like made of all the individual elements that I needed to make the sounds. That was part of a video tutorial that I watched to do this. So here we go. The kick is just made from this sound, these two sounds here, this transient layer, and then this more low-endy bottom layer. Obviously the transient layer, you can hear there's a lot more tops to it. It's just a sine wave being pitched down really fast, and the same as the low end, was just a bit slower on the pitching. And yeah, so once they're combined together, they sound okay. So here is both of the separate elements loaded into the sampler, and they sound quite good together. And then yeah, I've just taken that idea and developed it a bit further by compressing it and distorting it a bit, and yeah. Here on the second kick sound, all I've done is taken the same layers and changed some of the pitching, and yeah, so I've got two different kicks. Oh, both of them playing at once, sounds a bit weird. And then obviously something that I wanted to pay attention to was to make sure that they're at a good volume. Don't know where the T's are all gone. Oh, that's fine. So having a look at them here in span, that is like the correct shape sort of kick should be. The sub bass is a lot louder than the top end. It's looking like a kick in the analyzer. So moving on to the snare, it's a similar process for the snare design. There's a transient layer, then we've got a kind of reverby layer. It gives it some sort of real feel and effect. A tail, it's the all important of the snare, and then a bit of a bong, like a weird bong to again give it some sort of natural resonance. And obviously drum and bass, the snares are pitched quite high, so that high sound sounds quite nice in the snare when it's all together. So when I combined all of those layers, again I put them into a drum rack, in the drum rack, loaded them into a sampler. There's I've adjusted like the start points so they start in the right place. Otherwise the sounds are like might blend into one another and not play quite correctly in time for it to be a cohesive one sound. So most of them they are starting bang on, the start of the initial sound. However, some of them I had to move the start points and that back and forth to get them to sound good together. And again, I just did like what I did with the kick. I've pitched them a little bit differently and made 2 snares. That's the first one, and then there's the second one. Second one's probably not as good as the first one. The wash layer in the first one, the white noise layer is definitely. And where's the little boop? So without the boop, we can see that the snare again, the boop thing that I was talking about earlier. That's without so the reason why that snare sounds better is I've added the wash layer on 2 different pitches. The noise layer on 2 different pitches, and it must be something to do with the phasing between the two or what have you. It makes it sound like really punchy and thick and cool, whereas the other sound I don't think I have. But yeah, it's a bit of a cleaner, crisper snare, a bit more attack and a bit more transient. Anyway, I'm quite happy with how those 2 bits have gone, so I'm going to try and take these sounds and stick them in my song. I mean, obviously this is the end result of a few days worth of processing. I had to work out, and research all of the information as to how to do this, and then get all of the right sample sort of information together. I had planned on documenting this the entire way through, but it would have been about 6 hours of bloody video, so I guess it's better to talk about it in the write-up and just demonstrate the process of the finished articles of the kick and snare, and talk a little bit about how it went. So there you go.